Hi all. Hi all. Am I audible? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So today's webinar will be on topic submission of actual investment proof in Zoho. From our payroll team, Priyanka is going to conduct this webinar. So she will guide to us regarding the investment proofs. So over to you, Priyanka.
Thank you, Kanchan, for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. So, before we start, just let me present my screen. Okay, so today I will be taking you through how to submit your actual investment proofs on Zoho payroll portal for current financial year 2025-26. As you know that you have to declare your investments from April to December, and from April to December your tax is calculated as per the declaration done by you. Now it's time to submit your actual investment proofs on Zoho payroll portal. So the submission window will be open from 8 Jan to 20th February. So during this period, you have to submit your actual investment proofs on Zoho payroll portal. So the tax for February and March will be calculated based upon the actual investment proof submitted by you. So in January, the tax will be calculated based on the declaration only, but for Feb and March, the tax will be calculated based upon the actual investment proofs submitted. Here, it's important to note one thing, that the value of declared investment is more than the value of proof submitted, then your taxable income will increase. So you may require to pay more taxes. To avoid this, you have to submit all the proofs that you have declared earlier. So this will help in your tax saving purpose, so that there will be no much variation in your tax deduction. First I will brief you about how to actually submit your investment proofs on Zoho payroll portal. Later on, I will explain in detail like which investments you will require to submit for claims. Now, as I said earlier, the submission window will be open on 8 Jan. So you will receive one email notification from us about the window is open. Once the submission window is open, you have to log into your Zoho payroll account. And once login, you will see all the tabs on left side. You have to click on investment tab, then select proof of investment, then click on submit proofs. Now you will see one form. So you can see all the investments listed here. So you have to select one investment at a time to claim it. And you will require to mention all the required details about the investment that you need to claim. Once you are done, you have to click on save and compare regimes. So on the second page, you have to opt between old tax regime or new tax regime. So don't be in a hurry here, because you can opt between old tax regime and new tax regime only once. You cannot switch the tax regime once you are opted between these tax regime. You have to check which tax regime is beneficial for you, and accordingly, you need to select old or new tax regime. Once you are done, just click on save tab. Then on third page, you will see all the investments that you have claimed earlier. You will see one attachment pin in front of each of the investments that you have claimed. You have to just click on the attachment pin. and browse the document from the folder, and this way you can attach your documents for the investments that you have claimed. Now the maximum limit to submit your proof is 5 MB. So make sure that the limit is under 5 MB. Once done, just check the consent box and click on submit. So I will repeat once again. On first page, you have to just fill the details for the investments that you want to claim. On second page, you have to opt between old tax regime or new tax regime. And on third page, you have to attach the proofs or documents. Then click on submit, and this way you will be able to submit your investment submission. Once done, we'll receive your investment submission and then we will review it. Once the review is done, you will receive one email notification like which the investments are approved, which one are rejected. And also you can see the rejection remarks also in that email notification. So don't get panic. If you have any concerns or queries regarding the rejection, you have to reply to the same email to us so that we can check and resolve your queries accordingly. Now, as I said that you have to opt for old tax regime or new tax regime. Suppose you find that old tax regime is beneficial for you and you select old tax regime, then you have to submit all the investment proofs that you have claimed. But if you find that new tax regime is beneficial for you and you opt for new tax regime, then you don't have to submit any proof. Only one investment is applicable under new tax regime, and that is interest on home loan on let out property, which is under section 24. So if you have this investment, you can claim this under new tax regime. And if you are having any employer NPS contribution as a part of your CTC, the system will auto consider it as exemption under new tax regime. Also, you will get a standard deduction of rupees 75,000 under new tax regime. Yes, now we will see which investments you can claim under old tax regime. So first is house rent allowance. So suppose you are living in a rented house property, you can claim house rent allowance. You have to just check the box as yes in front of are you staying in rented house, and then you have to mention all the required details like rental period for the current financial year, monthly rent amount, address of the rented house. You have to also select whether it's a metro or non-metro city, and landlord PAN is mandatory if annual rent amount is more than rupees 1 lakh. Now here you will require to attach rent receipts, rent agreement and landlord's PAN copy as proof to claim for house rent allowance. Then is home loan. So if you are repaying any home loan for your self-occupied property, you can claim the principal and interest amount of the loan for the current financial year. So you have to check the box as yes, saying that are you repaying home loan for self-occupied property? Then you have to mention the principal paid amount, interest paid amount, and the name of the lender and lender PAN. So you will get all these details on the provisional loan certificate which you receive from your bank. Also, you will require to attach this provisional certificate as proof to claim for home loan. Next is let out property. So if you are having a house property that is rented out, which is called as a let out property, you can claim this as well under old tax regime. So you have to again check the boxes. Yes, under do you have a let out property with or without rental income, and mention all the required mandatory details to claim for let out property. Next is ATC investments. So the maximum limit under ATC is rupees 1,50,000. You can claim life insurance premium, public provident fund, mutual funds, children tuition fees, and so on under ATC. So you can see a separate tab as ATC investments, and you will see all the options in the drop down. So at a time, you have to select one option from the drop down and mention the amount. If you want to add more investment, click on add investment and again choose another option from the drop down and mention the amounts. Here you need to note that if provident fund is deducted from your salary, you don't have to declare it because the system auto considers it as exemption under ATC. Then is ATD investment. So ATD investment is basically for if you are having any Mediclaim policies for self, spouse, children, or parents. Also, you can claim your preventive health checkup for yourself and also for parents. So the maximum exemption limit is rupees 1 lakh. And wherever it is mentioned as senior citizen, that policy will be for senior citizen only. Again, you will see a separate tab for ATD exemptions. Select the option from the drop down and mention the amounts. And if you want to add an investment, click on add investment. Again, choose the option from the drop down and mention the amount. And as a proof, you have to attach Mediclaim policies to claim under ATD. Then is ATDD. So ATDD is for medical treatment of dependent with disability. So you get exemption based on the level of disability. Suppose it is a normal disability like 40 to 79%, you will get exemption up to rupees 75,000. If it is severe disability, that is 80% or more, you will get exemption up to rupees 1,25,000. So as a proof, you have to submit Form 10IA, which is issued by recognized medical authority, confirming the disability and percentage of disability. You can also attach receipt and bills for the expenses that are incurred in the medical treatment of the disabled dependent. Then is ATDDB. So ATDDB is for medical treatment of a dependent who is suffering from specified disease like chronic diseases. Here the exemption is based on the number of years of age. So for age between 60 to 80 years, the exemption limit is 40,000 or the amount which is actually paid, whichever is less. And if the age is 80 years or more, you will get exemption up to rupees 1 lakh or the actual amount paid, whichever is less. Here you need to submit one certificate which you will get from the specialist depending on the type of diseases such as neurologist, oncologist, and so on. Next is ATU. So ATU is basically for individual who suffers a disability. So earlier we saw about ATDD, which is for dependent who is having disability, and ATU is for individual who suffers disability. Okay. So under this section, a person with disability is defined as a person who has at least 40% of disability. The types of disability can be blindness, low vision, mental illness, etc. Again, here the exemption is based on the level of disability. So if it is 40%, you will get exemption up to rupees 75,000. If it is 80% or more, you will get exemption up to rupees 1,25,000. Again, you have to submit Form 10IA as proof to claim for ATU. Then is ATG. So section ATG is for donations. So any donations which are done are eligible for either 100% or 50%. So the donations done to government are claimed as 100%, and if donations which are not made to government are done to any private institutions, any temples you say, those are eligible for 50%. Here as a proof you have to submit receipt of donation, and the mode of payment of donation should be check only. If it is in cash mode, then you will get exemption up to rupees 2,000 only. As I said that donations which are made to government are eligible for 100%. So these are basic, some few of the donations for which can be done to government are eligible for 100%. One of the donation which is done to government, that is Prime Minister Drought Relief Fund, is eligible for 50%. Others are eligible for 100%, and any donations which are made to any private institution are eligible for 50%. Now you can claim this under other investments and exemptions. So there are two types of exemptions that I told, that is donation eligible for 100% exemption and donation eligible for 50% of exemption. So if you have made donations to government, you have to claim it under donation eligible for 100%. And if it is other than government, you have to claim it under donation eligible for 50% exemption. But you have to mention full amount under 50% because the system considers 50 auto calculates the amount as per 50%. So make sure you enter the full amount which is mentioned on the donation receipt. Then under other investments, you can claim 80CCD, 80DD, 80DDP, which we discussed earlier. You can claim all these under other investments. So we'll see a separate tab as other investment and exemptions. So here you will see all the investment claims in the drop down. You have to select one at a time and mention the amount. So this was all about the investments that we discussed. Next is previous employment. It means that if you have joined in middle of the financial year and you were working in some previous organization in the current financial year, you have to submit your previous employment details like income after exemptions, the tax deducted, professional tax, provident fund. You have to claim this. So for this, these details you will get from the tax sheet or form 12B which you get from your previous employer. Also, you have to attach this as proof to claim under previous employment. So this was a very simple process to submit your actual investment proofs on Zoho payroll portal. And I hope this will help you in your submission process. If you have any concerns regarding your investment submission, you can share your queries to me on the email ID. So I'm sharing my email ID here in the chat box so that if you have any concerns or questions, you can email me your queries. And yes, thank you everyone once again for joining this webinar. Please share your queries over email ID so that we can help you and resolve your queries.